When I was in military intelligence, one of the lessons we learnt quite quickly, that when people ask us to find some information, like, for example, Saddam Hussein's tanks, where are they based at 3 o'clock in the morning? We would have to ask the question, if you knew the answer to that, how would it help you? What's the bigger problem? Because the question is, I'm just interested. We don't have resources for just interested. So we always begin with the end in mind. You and I are talking about trying to solve real business problems. So we know where we're going. Otherwise, this thing grows like tops. We can do all sorts. You can do pictures. You can do those pictures of you in a plastic packet. Those are really cool. Well done.
They look great.
Yeah, and it only took me a day to get it right. We've got to begin with real stuff. And what we've got, even now, can help the client. And in our mind, we've always got to have that client. We better serve our clients when we can leverage AI within bounds that we set, because we're lawyers, we understand this stuff, but they get better value from us. And value is always about the difference between what they pay and what they get. So the question is, we want to keep it paying the same, but we just want to start getting the sense of we're getting so much more from you guys.
Absolutely, because that's really where you're going to see. And again, this is not even true for just the legal profession.
Okay, cool.
This is happening in all kinds of sort of white-collar thinking professions. All of a sudden, what you have to do is produce faster, at the same quality, maybe better, and under new sort of potentially tighter constraints, because these tools, as they get disseminated into the general populace, that's really the people that are good at using them. That's what they are able to do with them, is to provide, the same or better quality, more volume generally, and given greater constraints that were not, probably not economically feasible in the past. This is the same.
Absolutely. So traditionally we've said that there are those three things, there's a triangle of three things. It's price, speed, and quality. And within those three is kind of the client work. They can choose any two, but the third one chooses itself. What AI is allowing us to do is fundamentally hit all three of those at once. It allows us on quality probably to better understand what the value that the client's looking for. That if we accept the quality as fitness for purpose, as defined by a client, we're much more granular now about what are the value bits and what are the not value bits. Having done that sort, AI then allows us to do things much quicker. The bits that need to be done quicker, and we can extract the bits that are still high value and do them separate. That means then from a pricing point of view, we have a dilemma. Because what law firms want to do is now move from 50% profit margin to 80% profit margin. And yes, there has to be some recompense for the technology costs and the learning going in. However, we will not be able to justify that.
It's not, maybe in the near term.
In the near term, when the clients don't know what we're doing. Because let's face it, at the moment, law firms are just pulling off precedents. There's not a lot of original thinking goes on in most law firms for routine things. We've got a precedent, we've done it, and I'm paying you for your expertise, and I get that.
And that's fine. That's just how. That's how most industries work.
Absolutely. They're a standard. We've done this before, but you are the first one. Cost us a fortune to create, and we didn't make enough money. But now you're the 100th client wanting this particular document. We're going to make money. So the theory is there, but the change is so fundamental. This isn't just a slow incremental change. It fundamentally changes the speed we can do things. It fundamentally changes our ability to analyze where our value add is and do the bits that don't need high quality, whatever that means to the client.
And it also allows us to have a different perspective on quality, because I think you mentioned before that quality is, really is my output fit for purpose for the client. And now that purpose is going to be able to have a bit more of a broad definition, because you're going to be able to, because once people understand that we're able to produce deeper thinking faster, then we can actually offer a higher level of quality at the same price or lower.
We can help the client ask better questions. And a classic example would be, which hasn't always worked out well, e-disclosure in litigation. Disclosure was normally a paper exercise. Then we went to e-disclosure, so it's all these documents and electronic devices. just because we can perhaps doesn't mean we should, because we're now getting swamped with so much data to analyze that even with AI and all the technology, it's slowing us down. So there's an argument that says that technology will increase the need for professionals because all of a sudden there's a whole new raft of stuff you can do. I read a paper written by an American lawyer who said, look, with AI, I can sue 50 companies in 20 minutes for the same thing. And I'm just going to send out these letters. My dissatisfaction, it used to take me a long time. I used to pay a lawyer $50 a time. I can now do them at zero cost.
Yeah.
So the litigation courts could be swamped by AI-driven documents, similar the same way that if you chat to anybody involved in recruiting students.
Yeah.
It's just AI city.
It's the same thing. Yeah. But there's also a flip side to that, because I think that in my understanding is that with e-discovery, a lot of it is kind of weaponized.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
If you are really savvy at using AI, not in all cases, but in some instances, you're going to be able to, if you just get a mountain of data or documents or information from somebody on the other side, you're gonna, if you know what you're doing, you can create a system wwhere you can much more quickly.
10 years ago, you had to search for the word concrete, and then say, now find words with concrete and wet. And it was a slow process. You can certainly do first passes really quickly, and help you. Well, we remember the you in this mind is still the brain. Somebody still has to know the question they're answering. So what we're talking about in workshops is understanding what are you trying to achieve? What's a good outcome? And what do we need to know we've got a good outcome? And is there a way that AI can get us that stuff better? So, for example, you were talking about pitches. If we could use AI to find out more about the client. Does the client have a corporate accounts? Do they have a value statement? Have they got a website? What are their core values? Yeah, can we reconstitute our pitch document so it looks like one of their internal documents?
Yeah,
those sorts of things. There, but you need to know the questions to ask. Somebody talked about you're kind of like, back to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, almost like a Babel fish. You're turning a problem into something that you're framing for AI to address, because it needs guidance. One of the things I've discovered recently of using AI, and this is probably only the last few weeks, I set out the original problem, and then I say to the AI, ask me some questions to help you better understand my problem. And it asks really good questions, at least half of which I don't know. So I have to go, I don't know, I'll find out. But
and that's really I think that for me is one of the core changes in using AI effectively, when you realize that you're not going to tell it what to do all the time. You're going to ask it what your weak points are. Anytime that you're operating outside of your core area of expertise.
Absolutely. If you try and control ChatGPT, it's like having a toddler and you're trying to rail where it goes. You cannot, if you want to get the value from it. You've got to let it do what it does well. Toddlers learn by exploring and doing whatever. AI learns by doing what it is. So I used to have to tell it. I used to write, when I write an artificial intelligence scenario, I used to describe the character exactly what, you're taciturn, you're this, you're that, you're whatever it is. I can now say, using Myers-Briggs, you're ENTJ. That's it.
That's it.
And it now knows exactly how to behave. So less is more if you're giving sensible, if you're, I guess, treat it like a sensible adult.
Treat it like a sensible adult that is a little bit, I think of it as kind of like we have the American sort of analogy of the wacky professor. Incredibly intelligent. Kind of disorganized. Needs a little sort of nudge here and there.
Which I always imagined as an over-enthusiastic trainee, like a Labrador puppy with two tails. It just loves being given a job. Yes, a chance to apply all this knowledge I picked up at law school, and thank you. And it gives you far more than you really wanted. And it wasn't quite the answer. And it's going to take a little time to lick it into space, into shape. Same thing.
Same thing.